What's up, guys? Welcome in. Fun game.
What's up, guys?
I like these series a lot.
Game.
I think every matchup should be a series.
Yeah, need more of Jimmy. I don't know if everyone said this on Wednesday.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler flying up. I think this morning on the plane, and
Jimmy and
doing that little Instagram video or whatever that was, and you knew they were gonna come storming back in this one. They were pissed. Bam didn't like the officiating last game. Spoelstra thought they let one go off just a couple shots late, and they set a tone for most of this one. Another game where the Celtics really couldn't stop them, even while getting a bunch of wide open three misses from the Heat. The Heat bench played terrible, but Jimmy Butler, just one of those special Jimmy Butler performances, even on a night where Jaylen Brown was even better in the other direction. With Tatum off in this one.
Jimmy and I talked about it off air just a minute ago. Scal, I'll give Scal credit. Actually, put it really. Give him one. Put this really well. That Jimmy Brown basically flew up here and called his shot.
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. He's like, I'm on my way.
Jimmy Butler.
Things are going to be a little different with me in town,
like,
and he did.
Everybody settled down. Daddy's coming. Daddy's getting on the plane. He's coming. He's going to remind everybody that the Heat are still the Heat, when they're healthy. And we kind of talked about this a little bit on Wednesday. John, I know you had a little power outage issue, but, the Heat can't afford to be hurt. They're a very talented team when they're not healthy, but when Butler, and that goes team, your best player is out for a significant period of time, it's damn near impossible to come back from that. You can see the same for the Celtics. You can just pick any team. So the Heat get Butler back tonight, and he's a killer, man. Year in, year out. It's not just this season. We've seen it on many occasions. He knocked him out of the bubble. He gave him hell last year, and it's not just the Celtics. I mean, Jimmy Butler is regarded as one of the toughest players in the NBA. I mean, he bullies his own teammates. That's how tough this guy is. He'll make his own teammates cry. Just because he doesn't like the way that they're, I'm talking about the Timberwolves. I don't think anyone's surprised to see this. I think we're surprised to see, 19 turnovers from the Celtics and a 13-0 run from the Heat in the fourth quarter and kind of punch in the face. But I give credit to the Celtics for clawing back in after that, And obviously, when I say you can't talk about the team tonight without talking about Jaylen Brown, Tatum was off. And I guess, it happens. The shots weren't falling. I mean, he even had a really, really nice move to the hoop late in that game, and it just didn't. The layup,
the left-hander,
just missed. Yeah, just rolled around, and that was the kind of night he had.
Yeah, I'm focusing more on the shots where he was outside of the offense.
I didn't
particularly late in the game.
I didn't like his decision making at all. I thought, and again,
he was trying to shoot himself out of it.
Eddie House said it very late in the game too. Like, I don't like that shot. Like, put the pressure on the defense. Don't settle for contested shots.
They were down 2.
Where you're not making the defense work. Make them work. The thing with Miami that they do that they're great at is they make you play bad. It's just what they do. It's one of their things. Well. They make it harder on you. So they got the Celtics off their rhythm. They got the Celtics away from what they do. They weren't moving the ball. They started getting into a little bit of ISO stuff. They were dribbling too much. They turned the ball over 14 times in the first half. Actually, credit to the Celtics for kind of reining it in. They only committed 6 the rest of the way between the second half and overtime. I just didn't like the shot selection that much in the second half. Even some of the ones that were going in, I just didn't think that they were working for their shots the way they normally were. It wasn't that regular swing to the open guy. They got a few of them. You had that beautiful play where Horford found Grant on the baseline. Those were fewer and far between. A lot of the shots that they hit were kind of, contested shots, forced shots that they were, taking and making, just different than what we'd seen where they're really working the ball and they're almost like ahead of the other team's rotations on defense and getting clean looks all game long. You do that, shots don't fall, you shrug your shoulders and say, oh, well, this didn't feel like one of those nights.
There were a handful of those.
You're a little laggy, my friend.
I'm looking at the...
Okay, I'm going to dip out.
Yeah. All right.
I'm looking at the pull-up down 2 at the end of overtime. That was probably the biggest culprit of what you're talking about there, John. There was a transition play, I believe in the fourth quarter, where Smart spotted up from 3 with about like 20 seconds on the shot clock. I believe Brown had one of those pull-ups as well. And then Tatum had a force in traffic that was just really uncharacteristic what we've seen from this offense so far this year. That was what my biggest takeaway was from this one too, is the Heat really somehow got the Celtics outside of their offense. And maybe it was just the tough night that they forced on Tatum early. Celtics were missing threes early as well, ended up digging themselves out of that hole. But it was one of those nights where you look at their effort and say, all right, is this what it's going to look like if the shooting's not there, if they're off a little bit, if they turn the ball over? And that hadn't been an issue all season until the last 2 games. So I'm not freaking out about that. I'm not freaking out about the approach because they've been so brutally consistent. And Joe actually did a pretty good job reeling them back in moments late in this game. But overall, it ended up hurting you. And your defense, again, John, I'm going to keep going back there. It was rough on Wednesday. It was rough again tonight. Bam walked to the rim again and again as they worked their way back to the 9-point deficit. But the Celtics had a 9-point lead late in the third, and they went ice cold on offense, and the Heat just soared to I think it was a 5-6 point lead there. Completely flipped the game on its head.
Yeah, it's
18-4 run.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game of runs. You're going to have it. Celtics went on a 17-2 run to take the 12-point lead. I mean, that stuff's going to happen. At the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it was, they don't have a great interior presence. You play a guy like Bam, obviously you're gonna surrender some. I mean, you think back, to the bubble and how Bam killed them on every single pick and roll. That's not this Celtics team. They don't have that problem right now, but you're missing Rob Williams. You're missing your interior presence and your deterrent. So obviously you're going to surrender some stuff. I mean, they got killed by, mid-range stuff. They got killed by Lowry and Butler and Harrow getting his shots off clean. They got killed by guys who were making tough shots against them. I'm not going crazy on the defense tonight. A lot of the shots Miami hit were tough shots. Butler hit tough shots. Harrow hit tough shots. They hit a lot of them all night. Even Lowry hit tough shots.
They did. Those 2 from Butler at the end were really tough. There were
really tough shots
over 2 defenders. Bam, those pull-ups in the lane are really tough. Like, they have to get up on those jumpers, the mid-range ones. And the Celtics there, as we've talked about, willing to give those up. I think they're not really on top of those, though they were in this game. So that's an adjustment, I think, playing a team like this. You're clearly looking at Miami, and I was talking to someone before the game saying, like, Miami's numbers are much better than what they've played in terms of their record this year when you dive into how they've actually generated shots and all the other analytics that you look at with them. Like, they're expecting to turn it around. They've now won 4 of their last 5. Yeah, and they're going to be there, and they're probably going to be against you in the playoffs.
Bobby, I'm not. This isn't calling you out, but I mean, I think you're really quick to try to, just in our chats, you're very quick to shovel dirt on Miami's grave. You've been trying to call them dead for 2 years now.
Hey, you look at their roster, and even in this game, like, they're relying on like a Hayward Highsmith and
whoever the hell Highsmith is. And I swear he didn't exist. He wasn't even a person until Wednesday. I think he was like, he's like a Madden generated play, like a, 2K generated player. I don't believe he's a real person.
And even with multiple guys coming back, they played Udonis Haslem again in this one for a couple of minutes. Like, they are going deep into their roster. They've obviously lost PJ Tucker, which I don't think was a huge loss, but they find a way, and they're coached so well. And we know all these different things about how they persevere through times where you think that they're going to be down and out. I certainly have learned that. Yeah, they're going to be there. They've really convinced me over the last week or two here. Lowry's alive. Hero coming back from injury looks phenomenal. Jimmy, what a boost coming back from 8 games off, looking like himself. This is great stuff from them. But you got to credit Jaylen Brown, who, with Tatum off, with the offense sort of out of sorts, getting outside of themselves, he stayed in his role and stepped outside of it at times when he needed to and did a good job with it. And they shifted the offense from Tatum to Brown in a way that really impressed me. So if we're going to go positive on something out of this one, I think the way Brown took over for Tatum in that lead spot, obviously the shot, it's one of those tough shots that in a loss everyone's going to forget pretty quickly, but that was ridiculous. Other plays throughout this game forcing the issue in transition, inflicting foul trouble on the Heat. He was great. Turnovers a little high, but overall you need that aggression on a night where Tatum's just completely out of sorts.
Yes. So, it's fine. I like seeing Jalen pick up the slack. Without Jalen, they're not in this game at all. You're gonna have off nights from Tatum. You're gonna have nights when Jalen goes off. You're gonna have nights when they both go off. But it's really more the style of play. I think the style of play that they played is the stuff that we saw at times last year that we didn't like. You watch them revert a little bit too much into ISO, a little bit too much into dribbling, a little bit too much into dribbling into tight spaces. You've got Miami with active hands. You got a bunch of turnovers. But what else happens? And we see it in the chat here. Where was this guy tonight? Where was this guy tonight? Where was this guy tonight? Well, when Tatum and Brown and Smart are dribbling the air out of the basketball, that is going to have other guys less involved. And why were people less involved? Because of that. Because there just was less movement tonight. It was just one of those nights where they just weren't doing it. They were hunting matchups and they were dribbling a little bit too much. And that's I think where they got into trouble.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Where were they? Because literally, where were they? Where was Malcolm Brogdon? Where was Derek White? These guys weren't even on the court in the fourth quarter or in overtime, if I recall correctly, Bobby. Is that accurate?
I mean, White played 28 minutes. Brogdon had a lighter night.
But where are they? I mean, you can't say that. Oh,
Grant was out there.
Grant was out there. They stayed with Grant.
Grant was fine.
They took White out for Brown after a bad exchange there, and he never went back in, and they stayed with that lineup. But
if you're looking to get players in that's going to move the ball around and, cycle it and find the open shot and not have forced shots like what Tatum was giving you, then put in the guards. If you're not, then you've got your point Tatum, and that's what's going to happen.
They went small at times. You can't go small against Bam, though. It's tough because he'll find a guy and finish over him. They tried it when he went out with the foul trouble, and you eventually had to go back to Grant and Horford in there to try to counteract that. And I thought they did a decent job on Bam. There was just really no answer for Butler and some of the shots he was hitting. Like, he was so quiet to start the first. I'm like, where is he? Then the end of the second, he just scored like 11 points like it was nothing, and he was rolling from that point on.
I just
Hero's the one, though, in that pick and roll. They really struggle against that right now. And again, guys, I'm not sounding the alarm, but how long are we going to sit here with this defense where it is and just be like, oh, they're just not trying? They'll turn it on eventually.
I'll do it for the rest of time.
116 in overtime. Again, I don't think that was the issue, but I don't mean to harp on this, but I kind of do. I think Malcolm Brogdon needs to be in the game in a lot of these tight situations.
To settle them down and keep them moving. Yeah,
absolutely. Not to say that like Marcus Smart and those guys can't handle it. It's just that he's a veteran. He's playing the best basketball he's played in probably a couple years right now. I mean, literally at this very moment, the last few games that he's been playing, he's at the top of his game. He's healthy. He gets them going in both directions. And again, if you're looking to try to get guys different looks, I understand where Bobby's coming from. Yeah, you don't want Bam to just eat down low, but he was doing that anyways against Grant. He was shooting over Grant regardless. So I think it was probably on Joe to make a change a little bit in that fourth quarter, especially like a Heater going on a huge run. I don't know. I think that you could have probably had a couple of those guys.
I'm not worried again.
A little bit. Not worried. I just think if you want to nitpick.
No. I'm saying the defense just never worries me because I just don't think it's an issue, and I just don't think it's an issue that's going to doom the team. I think what can hurt the team is lapsing into bad habits offensively. So again, we've seen them almost every time this year where they had a not so great performance, kind of bounce back and clean the slate pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So this was one of those where they weren't moving the ball as much. They got a little dribble happy. They turned it over a ton, and they didn't shoot well. And you still went to overtime in this game. Again, the defense is the least of my concerns with this team right now. It really is. As Jimmy said, I mean, it's not like the other team lit it up on you. You've got some matchup problems certain times against certain teams. But again, there's just so many things that you do that makes it harder on the other team to stay with you. That's really as long as they're doing what they're doing and they're humming on offense and playing the way that they've been playing, I just don't think it matters because they're just always they'll put so much pressure on the other team that eventually they're going to fold. And they almost did it tonight. They built a 12, 13 point lead. They just kind of fell asleep a little bit, let Miami get back into it too quickly.
For sure. And it snuck up on them. While you were gone, Jimmy, again, they go on that 17-run two-run themselves, but they were up 9 and gave up the 18-4 run that let the Heat shoot ahead there between the end of the third and into the fourth. And if I'm really highlighting the issue there, it was 3 turnovers at the end of it. It was a bunch of missed shots at the beginning, and they went cold for about 7 minutes, which is something we haven't seen this team do really at all this year. Maybe in that debacle of a game to begin the year against Chicago. But other than that, this offense has kept humming through pretty much every game. But this was finally the one. Even with 28 free throw attempts, you missed 7. That's a killer. 45 threes, you only hit 15. They've had worse shooting nights where at the end
they still shot 46% from the floor. It's not atrocious. It's just you're used to 55-45 every night. So again, if you just don't turn it over 20 times, you win this game while not really playing at your highest level. I'm still going to always tip my hat to the Heat because I respect the hell out of them for their shot, big shot making ability and the ability.
They had to play great to win this one.
And they play smart and they make it hard on you and they're annoying as hell and they don't let you get, they don't get too far down. It's always super competitive. It doesn't matter who's out there. I mean, even Wednesday was really competitive until the Celtics finally just kind of distanced themselves late.
They didn't like the style,
but they weren't moving off the ball at all. They just weren't cutting the same way that they were. There was a lot of dribbling and standing around tonight, and I think that's why you got uneven games from a lot of people.
Yeah, they wanted to bring this game into the mud. They didn't like Wednesday's high flying back and forth action, and this game, all the fouls, all the free throws, all the turnovers. They accomplished that, even though the score ends up being pretty high in the end. I guess this is the new in the mud game in the NBA is 120-116. So they got it there, and the Celtics did a good job staying in it, managing it. But they finally lose. We finally have something to complain about here. I'm gonna go check in with the team and see what they're saying after this one, and I'll be back with some interesting news ahead of this road trip. I'll tease it there.
Ooh, okay.
You better hope we're still here.
It better be interesting.
That'll keep you streaming. I'll be back.
No, I'm not.
Bobby, crack some heads in there. Let's get down on the bottom. What went wrong tonight?
Get to it.
Tough on these guys.
All right. We'll just
wow.
We'll just sub Josue right in.
Look at that.
Just boom, boom, boom.
Hockey stuff.
What happened?
That was a good line change.
It was almost like
line change.
Switch it up.
Turned into Josue.
We couldn't do that again if we wanted to. That was good.
No, it was pretty good. So, Bobby's really worried about Luke. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he probably is, just typically.
Well, yeah, he's just keeping it to himself. But I thought you meant is he going 180? The 180 Bobby already?
No, he's worried about the defense. I'm not worried about the defense.
Can we just all agree that Bobby's just going to be worried about the defense?
He's going to worry about the defense.
It doesn't really matter how well they play on defense. It's going to be something he's worried about. This game went into overtime, and, 120-116, that's like a typical score these days for like a regular season game. So, again, I don't think they played bad defense tonight. I honestly think Jimmy Butler, everything he got, he worked very hard for. The couple of dagger-type shots that he hit were defenders right in his face.
Totally.
Yeah, right in his face.
That's why it doesn't bother me. I thought that they hit so many tough contested shots. Bam's going to get some of his, and he's going to be able to shoot over the top of people, but he's freaking Bam. I mean, that's fine. But most of it didn't bother me. Josue, I muted you a second. There was a little bit of background noise around you. While I'm gonna filibuster here a little bit, and I'm gonna tell the folks at home about our sponsors. We're gonna start with Calm. Everyone knows about Calm, #1 mental wellness app.
Oh, yeah.
I got 2 purchases today with people DMing for Calm.
That was probably because of my ad reads on Wednesday.
Probably. They said, Jimmy told me about this awesome thing, and I just bought it.
I sold the hell out of it.
And then Jimmy said, you're going to give me a T-shirt. And I was like, yeah. And they actually went out, and we've actually got them. But first, we'll tell you, #1 mental wellness app. We do this. We've all been on Calm for like a year now.
I shoot calm right into my veins, man. It's
Oh,
great.
all day long. Reduce stress and anxiety through guided meditations. Improve your focus with curated music tracks. Rest and recharge with imaginative sleep stories for children and adults. Daily movement sessions. Relax your body. Uplift your mind. Go to calm.com/garden. You'll get a special offer of 40% off the premium subscription, which is an incredible deal. We never get deals like this where a sponsor will give you this large a discount. All you have to do is go to calm.com. It's a good gift for your spouse. We kind of talked about this. It's kind of suggestive, like, hey, honey, maybe you need to chill a little bit. Here's some
You can't say that. Yeah, you can't say that.
I got you this awesome thing.
Yeah.
But check it out for real. It really is worth it. Explore it if you haven't tried it. The premium subscription gets you constantly
download the
updated
app, poke
library.
around,
Yeah.
See what you're missing out on. The app is free. Just download the app just to check it out. Then if you want the discount on the premium subscription, you go to calm.com/garden and promise it you'll be happy that you did.
So Calm at night, you'll take Calm after the show, and then you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to down your athletic greens, which we all do as well, and we love it. It's a one-stop shopping daily supplement here with 75 vitamins and minerals. You put it into one scoop of water, and you are done, son. That's all you need to do.
You're done, son.
You're done, son. That's all you got to do.
75 vitamins, minerals, gut health, mental health, all the types of health.
Nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging. It literally tackles everything that you're looking to do. It's all in one shot. Lifestyle friendly, diet friendly, no sugar, supports mental clarity and alertness. Obviously helps with your sleep quality, as we said. It's got a ton of endorsements from celebrities, healthcare professionals, athletes. So again, time to reclaim your health, arm your immune system, convenient daily nutrition, one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Just go right there, athleticgreens.com/garden. Again,
travel packs are nice.
.com/garden for your first purchase. In addition to all that free stuff, if you support any of our sponsors, you get ta-da!
These
phenomenal T-shirts.
We couldn't
exist.
Yeah, we couldn't get the actual photo to show up on the screen the way this does, John. But we did do my version of showing everybody a picture on the phone, and it was a picture of John and Bobby wearing the T-shirts. They do exist. Here comes John now with the T-shirt. It looks like he's got in his hand.
Huh?
What do we got? Is this the actual T-shirt here?
What are you talking about?
I'm
talking about
play-by-play of what you were doing.
Are we talking about phenomenal?
Yeah, we are. That's a phenomenal T-shirt right there.
Is this what you're talking about?
That's literally a phenomenal T-shirt, but it's also a phenomenal T-shirt.
It is. You know what else is phenomenal?
Sherrod Blakely.
What's up, fellas?
Sherrod Blakely's pretty phenomenal.
He is pretty damn phenomenal.
What's up, fellas?
What's up? What's up, buddy? You and Josue are both jumping on. Jimmy and I have been talking a little bit, so you guys tell us what you think is going on.
Have the floor.
We're done.
I was going to say something else about it. I'm going to save my AG1 plug for the end of the show.
Save it. You guys
save it.
go.
Save it, Jimmy. This was not. This shouldn't come as a surprise that they lost this game. Miami is one of those teams that they're going to give you problems. This is what they do. They play hard defensively. Jimmy Butler is one of the better timely shot makers in the NBA, and they found a way to win this game. But this is the thing that stood out to me, though. Tatum had one of his worst shooting games all season long. You got little to nothing from your bench for most of the first half and spurts here in the second. And this game went to overtime. I mean, I think most Miami plays teams like this. They typically win 5, 10, 15 points in regulation, but the Celtics, it went to overtime. So if I'm the Celtics, you hate the fact that you lost, but you played a pretty crappy game and you went to overtime against a team that you may very well see come postseason.
What was crappy tonight? What about the Celtics was crappy? How much of it was Miami?
Other than
what Miami forced them to do? Obviously the 20 turnovers, but how much of that was Celtics falling out of their rhythm and going back to kind of a little bit of iso ball movement stagnating because sometimes you're going to revert to bad habits and it just happens, or did Miami force them into it?
It was a little bit of both, but I think I would give Miami more credit than to say that it was just the Celtics having one of those games. Miami's game plan, I thought, was pretty clear to force someone other than Tatum to make shots, but put Tatum in positions where he's not comfortable. And I thought that Tatum never got any kind of flow or rhythm. His shots, they didn't look like the shots that we've seen him make and take.
Bad decision making all night, I thought.
Yeah. And so he was not in his rhythm. And you got to tip your hat to Jalen. I mean, he carried this team. He put him on his back for most of the game. But they just didn't get enough of those the peripheral guys step up and make plays and get things done. And you can't beat a team that plays as hard as Miami does if you're not getting other guys to step up. And they just didn't get that tonight.
They did not. Josue?
I said facts, my dog, but I muted myself. Josue, I think you're muted.
Yeah, he is.
I think he is too. He is.
But he's freaking dropping science
cool, though.
right
Whatever
now.
he said sounded probably awesome.
I agree. Whatever the hell Josue said. Yeah, what Josue said.
I was saying unmute me. Unmute me.
You can't unmute yourself?
No. I can mute myself, but then there's an override that who controls. So.
Oh,
right, I'm back.
yeah.
I'm
we
back.
got the man with all the buttons up over
So,
there.
what Sherrod was saying is spot on. Is dead on. I thought defensively, especially in the half-court set with Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo was almost like playing rover, where he was picking his spots when to attack. As soon as Tatum turned his shoulder on a double team or whenever it was getting him rattled, it was Bam Adebayo making that push, whether it was forcing a steal, forcing a turnover. I mean, I just felt like they made sure he was uncomfortable throughout. Meanwhile, during the second half, I just think, Jaylen Brown is the big reason why the Celtics team obviously had a chance. I mean, that's a given, including the big shot at the end of regulation. But I also think that when you look at the way this team was playing down the stretch, I mean, Joe Mazzulla, and look, Celtics fans may not want to hear this, but it really did boil down to the Miami Heat just making those 2-3 extra plays that the Celtics just didn't, playing from behind and trying to steal that momentum, which they did. But the Miami Heat, I mean, this is a tough-minded team. I mean, this is the kind of team that when they're playing on the back end of a back-to-back, they're gonna make those corrections, and they did. I thought the Celtics did a good job of staying with it, obviously, in that second half in the fourth quarter, and Jalen had a lot to do with that. But look, the Miami Heat, they went back, they looked at the film, and I thought that one of the biggest things that was a glaring weakness for the Celtics, it seemed like, was when they were targeting, and Jimmy Butler in particular, Al Horford. It was as if Spoelstra told him, when Al's on you, you go. You attack. You can do that dribble around the rim thing, that jumper, whatever it is to create separation. He was able to do that against Al. Now, you don't want to say that that's the reason why this team lost, but I just think that making those timely decisions and executing, better than the Celtics did, and in those timely situations, ultimately is what happened here. I mean, you can't. Joe Mazzulla talked about this too a few minutes ago. You can't look at the record. Well, you can't look at what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. I mean, this is the type of team that, doing that whole midseason turnaround 2 years before the Celtics did it, right? I mean, that's the kind of team they are. That's the DNA of this team, and a lot of these guys are still there. That team that went to the NBA Finals. So it's interesting. Joe got a question from Gary Washburn about the Miami Heat trying to send a message, and I think that's exactly what they were trying to do. That's exactly what they were trying to do in the sense of regurgitating their confidence, which they don't really necessarily need to do. But I think having Jimmy Butler back, and you look at what happened 2 nights ago, 7 players in double figures. Yeah, you lost, but it was really close. You come out here, you send a message, Jimmy Butler goes off. I mean, this is exactly what, if you're the Miami Heat, thinking that was going to happen, 24 hours ago going into this one.
Yeah.
Well, Miami, they're one of the better teams at getting their hands on balls, particularly when you drive in the lane. I mean, I thought, every time Tatum looked to attack the rim off the dribble, he was either the ball was getting deflected or there was contact. They were doing something to just throw him out of rhythm so that he could finish at the rim. And that's who they are. That's who the Miami Heat are. But I also thought the Celtics were thrown off a little offensively, because they watch the same film, watch the same games that we do. And we all know that Tyler Hero is a horrible defender. And sometimes I thought they got a little too locked in trying to go at him rather than just running their offense the way they normally do. And again, I get it. I absolutely get it, but that doesn't make it right. It doesn't, obviously.
It's the worst thing they do. It's almost, you'd rather not have that obvious matchup out there, because when that happens, they slow it all down and they ISO and they hold it and they get out of what they do. And again, they did that a lot tonight, where they're like, I got my matchup, I'm good, everybody go. And what happens? allows time for the defense set, and you start making your move, and everyone starts creeping, and everyone else is standing around because they're just staying out of your way. And then all of a sudden people converge and the space gets tighter, and it's just flashbacks to the stuff that like you didn't like about their offense last year. That's why I wonder if it's self-inflicted or not. Like playing hero on the hopes that he's going to get ISO. It's not a strategy. The Celtics actively chose to do this as opposed to just doing what they've been doing and just move without the ball, get open shots, pass it, relocate, get it somewhere else, catch and shoot, and, just get into that kind of rhythm. They just didn't do it as well tonight as they normally do.
I think he did a good job of taking that away, though, John. You don't think so? I mean, it's a combination of both.
You can pass it. It's not like they're just sitting in passing lanes the whole time. They're playing up on you and they're pressuring you, and they're good at fighting through screens. And that's what they do. They're really active, and they have active hands. And you saw deflections, a couple ones, but some of them were just sloppy. Like Jaylen Brown turns around, tries to pass it back to the perimeter, and Butler just kind of kicks a hand there. Marcus was loose a couple times, and he just kind of let it just kind of like slipped out. Some of those were self-inflicted too, I thought. It's just overall the style that the Celtics played, I felt, is what took them out of the game. It's just not what's been getting them this record-setting offense tonight. And yeah, sure, Miami might have taken them out of their rhythm a little bit, but I think a lot of it was the Celtics, what Sherrod was saying, trying to attack matchups a little bit too much and getting stuck in the ISO ball mode. More than you want to see it. I mean, it worked for Jaylen. Jaylen attacked a ton of matchups all night and and was incredible. For Tatum, less so.
Question for how about Sherrod? Do these back-to-back matchups, is that a disadvantage to the Celtics because Mazzulla is kind of a newer coach and maybe the adjustments aren't as obvious to him as a guy like Spoelstra, for example, who many would consider is arguably the best coach in the NBA? Is there an advantage to a team like the Heat in that situation? Not only that, but they've got veterans, and I mean, at the end of the day, they got Butler back, so that's the biggest difference in this game. But is there a coaching advantage there too for these back-to-backs?
Well, if you're talking about this back-to-back series, I would say that Jimmy Butler's return was the biggest X factor in Game 1 and Game 2. But I do think when you have these back-to-backs, it favors the veteran coaches for the very reasons you pointed out, Jimmy. The fact is they know what it's like to be in those tight pressure, facing the same team multiple times. And Joe, he's been in a room when the game plans have been put together to deal with that stuff. But there's a huge difference between being in a room and being the one that everyone is looking to for those answers. Mm-hmm. And it's particularly hard when you win that first game. Because then you're thinking almost by default is, I just have to do the same thing or pretty close to the same thing I did the last game. And where the adjustments may not be as noticeable, what you need to do in order to win. Because certainly Jimmy Butler adding to the mix for the second game, it changes a lot of things. It changes your coverages. But like I said, I thought my big concern with them going into this game was would they try to play what I call anti-hero ball, which is where you try to go at Tyler at hero all the time. And I thought it through again. I thought it through their offense out of rhythm. I thought their defense wasn't bad for the most part. I didn't think it was great, but this was a low-scoring affair, and they never really allowed Miami to take advantage of that, even though they weren't making shots. So to your original question, yeah, I think it is an advantage, but it's an advantage for veteran coaches. Like if you were to bring in, Will Hardy, for example, and they were in a close game like this, I don't think if they played them on back-to-backs, that would necessarily be an advantage for him. I think veteran coaches, it's an advantage for them, not necessarily playing – any old coach can play the same thing twice. I don't think that gives him an advantage.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's an advantage for experienced teams as well, and obviously someone like Spoelstra, who's guiding this team, and doesn't even matter which arena they're playing in. I just think getting that first look at a team and then seeing that same team again 48 hours later. I mean, I just think that's an ideal matchup for someone like for Spoelstra. Like he capitalized on this stuff. I think it'd be safe to say that chances are he'll go at least 50% most of the time. I mean, and I think that's a testament to what the culture is like in Miami. Discipline and hard-nosed defense and effort. That's just what these guys do and play for pride and against a team that they lost Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals to. So, like this was personal for them. It should be. Yeah,
and there were noticeable adjustments that they made from the first game to the second. Specifically, defensively, getting their hands on way more loose balls, forcing turnovers, just being active around the paint whenever Tatum looked to attack and whenever Jalen looked to attack. Those are the type of adjustments that if you go back and you look at game one and compare it to what we just saw, those are going to stick out. It's clear that Spoelstra had a defensive-minded game plan of adjustments, and the Celtics were never really able to adapt to that. And yet there they were in overtime, potentially with a chance to steal a game where they really didn't play great basketball.
They didn't play great. It's giveaway stuff. Turnover, second chance points. You give them the ball when you have it. That's a freebie, and you're giving away second chance points. Those are freebies. That's really what happened tonight. Everything else is, again, I'm not being like, Mr. Homer. I still think, Celtics, I think, beat this team. I'm not gonna say 9 out of 10 times. They're gonna beat this.
Homer.
It's their best games beating is gonna beat Miami's best game every time. I mean, that's not really a concern here. But you're going to lose some of these games. You're going to have teams that make you play bad. You're going to have nights where it's just not your night. That's what this one was. Still a wildly entertaining game. I love the series. I love the two games. We talked about it off the top. I love that. I wish they would do it more. I think it'd be a great thing just to get that vibe, because you do. The playoff intensity in game two was, it was really awesome. It really felt like a playoff game. That's great stuff for fans. It's just, and it ups the energy and the competition factor of games where you just get into these slogs. You're in game number 37, 48, 56 of the season against such and such on this night. But you play these two guys back to back and you've built a little animosity. You get your ass whooped one night and then you come out the next day, 2 days later, with a chance to get that back. I think they should be doing this all the time if they could. So I'd like to see more of them, because that was a lot of fun.
Benefits the players too.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's, and Jimmy, to your point, Jimmy, I think that's really what a lot of this is about. Try to minimize the wear and tear on their bodies and have them play the same team back to back, sleep in your same bed, not your own bed. Which, yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But the key, and I think John alluded to this, is having a series where teams, there's a high level of competition between them. You're not just, because, I mean, no disrespect, but I'm not all that thrilled about back-to-back games in Charlotte. And the only reason I'm not thrilled about that is because it's Charlotte.
I thought you liked Charlotte.
I love the city of Charlotte, but I'm talking about the game, Jimmy. I'm talking about the games.
Okay. Well, Charlotte used to be fun.
Martin Luther King Day, for crying out loud. Jeez.
No, you're right. Charlotte
and they will, and the Hornets will be all about peace on that day. All about peace. Because they're not showing no resistance.
What's your take on
assuming they show
Udonis?
up?
It's like you're gonna say something about Udonis and you got out there.
I thought about saying. Look, the fact that Udonis is still in the damn NBA.
Something funny is about to come out your mouth, right? I knew it.
I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, like, damn, seriously?
Dude, I think everybody. I think he was thinking, damn, seriously, you're putting me in the game.
But Carmelo Anthony is at home chilling, looking at that 2003 championship ring, thinking, like, damn, I can't get no burn.
Some things don't make sense.
Story. Yeah. No, but the bottom line, though, is with this Miami Heat team, I mean, they played their brand of basketball. There was at no point did you feel that the Celtics were kind of enforcing their will on them. They went up to the Celtics. They made some shots and did what they normally do, shoot their way out of problems. But Miami never went away. Miami just kept chipping away, and the physicality. I mean, remember that hard foul I think Udonis laid on? I think it was Derek White, maybe.
That was ugly. But you know why he did that, right? You know why he did that, right?
Well, I mean, other than sending a message and just letting you know that I'm Udonis, I'm that dude.
Because he thought that he fouled Lowry. Well, the way he stole the ball, it just didn't look well. It looked like Lowry tripped, and I felt like Udonis took that as, he shut him to the ground or something.
Yeah, and the thing about Udonis, I mean, I respect the fact that that's the best thing that he can give that team right now: physical, hard fouls. That's his superpower for them, and we saw it flex. But you got to find ways to take advantage of him, because Udonis is not he's not the swiftest moving cat out there on the floor. And I never felt as though that there were other matchups besides Tyler Hero that I thought they could have taken advantage of. And I never really got a sense that they were looking to do more than just zero in on Tyler Hero, who still wound up getting 26 points, an efficient 26 points, like 10 for 18, 10 for 19 shooting, something like that.
Bubble Hero. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have players like that though, that can come up in big games like this. I just thought the Celtics bench just wasn't what it's been, right? The last week or so, and
Yeah.
that could be a testament to Miami as well. I just think they're just a tough matchup for the Celtics. But I mean, to John's point, I mean, in the best of 7 series, I still like the Celtics' chances, but they're still a team that you're going to keep an eye on, right? You have to.
Yeah, you always have to keep an eye on them because they've proven to be winners over the years. They've got a lot of the same guys that knocked the Celtics out of the playoffs 2 years or in the bubble and all that stuff. And as long as Jimmy Butler is healthy, that's their identity. And if that's your identity, especially in the playoffs when the intensity gets turned up and the defense gets turned up, then of course they're going to be difficult. But I don't think anyone's betting the Heat over the Celtics, especially because you would assume Celtics are going to have home court advantage on top of it all anyways, because I would imagine they're going to end up with a better record. And I know the Heat won tonight in Boston, but it's still obviously been a very difficult place for teams to come in and win. But it's all about talent. And the Celtics right now, they are one of the most talented teams in the NBA. Tatum didn't have it tonight. And you know what? The way he's been playing, he's bound to have a stinker once in a while. And this was one of those nights for whatever reason. You can cut it the Heat. You got to cut it the Heat. You got to cut it Spoelstra. I mean, again, he has a couple days to look at the film and do what he does. But I don't think anyone is worried about Jason Tatum because he had a bad shooting night or he had a couple bad decisions. You got to credit Jaylen Brown for, in that situation, rising to the occasion. And, if they won this game, we're leading the whole show with Jaylen Brown and we're talking about him for 30 minutes. It's unfortunate that they lost, but he did everything he could tonight, including that circus shot, which I didn't think had a prayer of going in. I don't think anybody in the Garden did, but
everyone behind me was just like, "What the?" Like people were pissed, and then
I was too. Like, "What are you doing? There's 4 seconds on the clock, man." That shot was 40 feet away. It had the longest arc, hit the backboard and went in. There's still a second and a half left for the Heat to go down and shoot. It's like,
can we get a reenactment of John's reaction to it?
Oh God, I don't think
because it was Jalen, he must have been like, "Oh, you gotta be."
Yeah.
I just can't believe that's what they ended up with. It was pretty bad.
I mean, it wasn't it worked out. We'll leave it at that. But regardless, Brown was aggressive tonight. Brown was Celtics Jimmy Butler tonight, right? I mean, he had statistically a better game than Butler, but they're in my opinion, they're similar. Like they're very similar.
See, I'm gonna have to push back on that,
on
Jimmy.
Offense, not on the defensive side.
Well, I don't think they're similar because the thing about Butler is he has established himself in this league as a guy that, regardless of how he's playing for 3+ quarters, in the fourth quarter, he's that dude. He's going to be that dude. He's going to put the team on his back without any question. And everyone around him knows this. The Celtics, it's not that cut and dry. Tatum is going to certainly get first crack at being that guy. Jalen is probably going to get second crack. Depending on what Malcolm Brogdon is doing, depending on whether he's on the floor, he may be that guy. If Al Horford has a matchup that they've been exploiting for 3 quarters and he's on the floor, he's going to be that guy. There's a lot more uncertainty as to whether Jalen is going to get an opportunity to be that guy down the stretch, whereas Jimmy Butler, it's a given. Everywhere he's been that guy down the stretch. And to me, that's what separates Jimmy Butler from a lot of players in the league. I think Jaylen Brown, when you look at Jaylen Brown's totality as a player, I still think he's better than Jimmy Butler. But in those closing moments, Jimmy Butler's got the resume to show that, hey, I'm all about making and taking that shot. And the Celtics, they've seen that plenty of times. That's why you go back to the playoffs last year. Jimmy had that shot that did everything but go in the damn rim. That changed everything. I mean, we don't know. That was one of those potential franchise-altering misses because we don't know how the Celtics would have responded with their roster if that shot would have went in and the Heat. So, but yeah, I mean, Jimmy's good, Jalen's good. I just think Jalen's better as an overall player.
Yeah, and I don't want to confuse. I don't want you to think that I think that Jaylen Brown has like the killer instinct or something that Butler has. I know that that's different. I just mean like I think similar playing styles. Like they're not great outside shooters. They are both aggressive, super athletic. They do kind of have a tough guy, old school sort of mentality. I feel like Butler's kind of like a guy that I feel like would have thrived 20 years ago too. I just feel like that's his MO a little bit. Whereas a lot of guys today, I don't think they could survive in the league like in the 90s or in the 80s. It's obviously a completely different playing style. But I think Butler's style would have fit that era pretty well. What's up, Bobby? We got Cinco Box right now.
I love it.
What's up?
Five out
for us?
5 out. We got 5 out. 5 out.
5 wide.
What you got? What you got for us, Bob?
Yeah,
Trips right.
sentiment out of this one that the offense sunk them. That's what Joe told them after. The defense held them in it, he thought, and the offense would doom them in this one. So there was going to be a time where their reliance on that, Grant said, was going to come back to bite them, and they would have had to deal with that. And I think they feel decent coming out of this one. The fact that they were tested, that they felt like they handled it pretty good, and that they'll not feel like they're a juggernaut who's just going to roll through everyone. I think they're all kind of looking at it and saying like, all right, we got one out of the way here, ended that 14 out of 15 stretch, and now it's going to be tough from here on out. Like, Brooklyn's going to be a challenge on Sunday, and that West Coast trip, they really haven't seen teams from the West at this point in the season, at least the teams up at the top there. There's just great defenses, great offenses on this road trip coming up, and really no one's been on the road for this long that I can think of on this roster. We talked about the wacky schedule this year, 6-game trip, in and out of Canada, out west. This is going to be a massive haul for this team, and the games are tough. So this was a good tone setter for that it's not going to be the Hornets playing Kai Jones and PJ Washington or some of the other teams that they've seen in recent weeks here. It's going to really ramp up fast for this group, and they're going to have to win more games than they lose on this trip here. All of a sudden their record's going to be a little tighter with all the rest of the teams in the East and in the league.
Bobby, you teased something on your way out.
Yeah. So
are you
this
ready?
Trip,
or is this too soon? John,
so,
you okay over there?
I am good now.
Tough night here.
Coughed up a fair ball.
Tough night going out on this road trip. Robert Williams is going on this trip. I don't know if he's coming back, but I think he's going to pack the jersey. I think he's going to put the shoes in the bag.
Okay.
We'll see what happens there. I think you're going to see.
You got a peek inside the old duffel bag?
Potentially, I think you're going to maybe see Robert Williams on this trip. Of course, Sherrod's had some reporting on that. Woj.
Yeah,
it seems incoming.
Right now.
Yeah, but I don't listen to those guys, Bobby. I listen to you.
Yeah, Bobby, are you saying it or are you not saying it?
I don't have it nailed down exactly, but it seems
like
it's
Did you get eyes
coming.
in the duffel bag? Did you get eyes in the duffel bag?
No, but last couple shoot-arounds here, he's scrimmaging, he's out there moving around, he's blocking shots, he's playing in some controlled action. So I don't think it's going to be in Brooklyn. I don't think it's going to be in Toronto. But once they get out west, I'm going to be at these practices, and I'm going to be interested to see what he's doing out there. And listen, what would Woj say? Before Christmas, you get back here on the 16th. It's coming, I think. I think it's going to be here soon.
Confirmed.
Sherrod's smiling. Sherrod knows
Williams.
What do you got, Sherrod? What's the
trip.
latest you got on that?
Rob, we'll just say that Rob is progressing well, and he's going to be playing soon.
No setbacks.
You're the one that said soon a couple weeks ago, and
now you sound like Joe Mazzulla. What's
my
going on?
patience for soon is not. Yeah.
Here's
you have stretched my patience for soon.
All right, I'm gonna say it. Warriors, December 10th.
That sounds about right.
That's what I'm hearing.
Why not bring him back for the finals?
That's
the
what I'm
finals
hearing.
Rematch.
On a restriction? Yeah, I can see that.
Per multiple.
What's that? That's 2 or 3. That's 3 games away, right? That's the first one out west. So
next Saturday.
I
love it.
I just think the Celtics understand that you can only go so far with this cut and paste big man rotation. That you at some point soon you got to start seeing what you're going to look like, and it doesn't. You don't have to play him for 20-30 minutes.
You got to
get him out. You have to get him out there. He's such an important part, and you're going to be a different team with him. I think you're going to be better. I certainly know you're going to have more talent on the floor, but is that talent going to gel? Is the chemistry going to be what it needs to be in order to be an impactful group? Is the offense going to be different? Are you still going to be dropping 130, 140 points a night with him out there? There's lots of questions about what his role and what his impact will be. The one thing I will say right now, you better get him out there. You better get him out there soon because you really need to see what you have to work with.
He's got to play his way back in the state shape, Sherrod. There's no practice.
well,
there's no.
that's the thing.
Right, that's
no
what I'm
environment where
saying.
you can get him
You
ready.
have to just
You've got so many games clustered together. You have to play him in order to get him back in playing shape.
He's
can't just let him
obviously
practice.
that's the thing. He's obviously officially healthy enough to play basketball. He just can't. He's just not in shape. That's 100% right. There's really nothing you can do other than play him 12 minutes tonight, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, what did he do when he came back the first time? It was basically like 1 7-minute stretch and then another six or 7 minute stretch. And then maybe a couple minutes late in the fourth if you wanted to bring him back. That was kind of the minutes restriction you had post-surgery. That's kind of where you got to go here is just 2 stints in and out, call it a day, and that's all that he plays. But he has to play his way into shape.
Right. He has to play himself into game shape. And I thought that one of the things that Joe Mazzulla said about it that was interesting to me was that the last step would be how he feels mentally. How does he feel to go out there? Is he ready? Does he rather wait a specific day? Is there a game he has in mind that maybe, he hasn't shared with everyone else? I mean, you don't know. Everyone else goes about these things differently. And obviously, given his past, you gotta be cautious here, and I think Rob understands that as well. Given the fact that the Celtics just went to the NBA Finals, and he understands how important he is on both ends of the floor, right? So you got to also remember what he's going to do offensively, like in terms of him, getting in tune with everybody else. It might take some time, but he's got to make sure that he's ready. I think it's going to be more on his terms than we think. I think Joe Mazzulla put that out there to remind people that
He did say that.
It's also on him. That's a big part of this that no one else can call.
And I'm not surprised, all this noise about his return. Like, it's always about like his comfort level and his confidence. So, they're really putting him out there and, showing him off and showing the different things that he can do, in that scrimmage there the other day. And, you hear about all the different things he's doing. He's feeling good. I think they've been cautious. I think he's been cautious. And now it's sort of reaching that stage where it's like, all right, let's see what you got. Let's go out there and get it and, start this recovery return process because it feels like there's been no setbacks. There's been no issues and things have gone well in terms of the surgery. And he was ahead of schedule. What did they say? 8 to 12 weeks to basketball activities. It was about a month ago or so now. We were in New York and he was saying he was dunking and he was running up and down the floor and cutting and all these different kinds of things. So I think he was ahead of schedule. This feels like ahead of what all of us anticipated. Josue and I were talking on the our segment the other night, saying like we weren't expecting him until after New Year's, and here he is. It feels like he's almost certainly going to be back before Christmas. Now, what version of him do you get? That's what we're all going to be watching to see. If it's this limited, just sort of shell of himself, he can still help. But as we saw in the playoffs, it's going to be some good nights, some bad nights where you can almost barely play him, and you're hoping that at least by playoff time, you can get the real Rob back. So that's why it's great to at least give him some ramp-up time here, let him miss some games if he needs to for rest, and just, again, get him rolling, as Sherrod said right there. That's what this trip, I think, is going to be all about whenever that date comes.
All right. December 10th. That's my prediction.
Which one?
That's what I'm hearing.
Hopefully it's not in
hearing.
Toronto. None of us are going to be up in Toronto. Make it Golden State.
So my sources are coming through my headphones right now. They're telling me December 10th against Golden State. Little finals rematch.
I like it.
Yeah.
Because we're saying it.
By the way,
It's going to happen. I trust my sources.
I don't know what happened to Luke there. I was looking for him in the locker room after I think he banged knees there in that play.
He was like, keep that Bobby kid away from me, all right? I'm not
You saw Luke sprinting out of the locker room. Was on the other door as Bobby walked in.
Not today, Manning. Not today.
Did they say a hyperextension? I didn't see that. So, well,
thank you, Tim. Producer Tim Shields chiming in.
If he misses some time here, that makes it even more important that Rob gets back. Though we've kind of forgotten about Noah Vonleh. He's done a good job when he's needed to play. So it's good that they have him for whatever gap there might be here if Cornette does miss some time with that.
Yeah, we got to make sure
Gotta
we can
fill Cornette
find
minutes.
someone to fill the Cornette minutes. Yep, that's
Well, it's
in a
about
row.
Al, right? I mean, Al can't go out there and play 40 minutes every night. So you need someone to spell him.
this will
poor
be
John.
over soon. This will
John
all be
hasn't had-
over soon.
John hasn't held his head
Sorry for talking
in
about the
Celtics
news.
postgame show in so long. Look at him.
I didn't lead with it, John. I left it for the
He only
end.
does this on the Patriots
Bobby, I
postgame
appreciate the
show.
update.
I appreciate the update. I'm not dogging you. I'm just looking forward to the day where Luke
general.
Cornette's just not part of our daily conversation. And it's nothing against Luke. It's just there'll be nothing to talk about because he won't be playing anymore. And that and natural order of things will be restored. And yeah,
I disagree. I want to live in a world where Luke is dropping 20 and 10.
I don't mind that world. I'm just telling
Jimmy,
you.
let me
That's
know
the
when you
world
get
I
to that
wanna live in.
world. Let me know when you get to that world,
That's the
Jimmy.
world
I'll
I
send
choose
you.
to
I'll
live
send you. I'll send you a postcard when you get to that world.
I think
Because we ain't
I
there.
think that's the world I just want to live in. very
I'm just
badly.
saying we're not there.
We're not there yet. But when I see Luke jogging back up the court after he throws one down and then blocks and then tries to block
Shout
a
out to
shot
Stroman.
20 feet from the shooter on the other end, we're not far. We're
Yeah.
not far away from it.
We will do a separate one-off show if Cornette stops playing.
For the record,
The Cornette Report.
when Stromile used to do that, man, it was vicious. It was like he would bring it down. He would just he would
I see
dunk
that?
on
Yeah, I saw
someone
the clips.
and then just go like up and
Did
down.
I
the
see the
court.
Heat doing that tonight?
I
Or
was
am
just
just
about to
seeing
ask,
things?
what were they doing at the end? I just
I think
actually
they were
talked-
mocking Cornette.
I
I thought they were pointing
that
at
was-
something in the stands,
what
but I
that was?
So
wasn't
yeah,
sure.
Lowry was apparently
Wait,
pointing.
Josue knows.
All right.
No, I'm asking. Is that what that was?
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
them do something similar, but that didn't even cross my mind. That
They were doing
mimicking-
this. They were doing this.
So Larry was pointing, and yeah, they were doing that. And I saw Lowry as he was leaving the locker room, and asked him
It's
a few
Robert's
questions
back.
about this one, but I didn't know what he was doing there, so I didn't even ask about that. But
So we wouldn't allow that. We would not allow the Cornette mockery on.
No, but you
On
know
our
what that
home
is.
court.
You know what that means, Jimmy. These guys are in their feelings. It was a talking point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that Luke guy was so excited that he has like a celebration thing that he did against us?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
one wants to
That
show
Luke
wasn't
him.
a-
Cornette. Luke Cornette
Yeah.
is dunking on us.
Is
that
dancing-
wasn't
is-
against them, was it? That was against
No, it was
Charlotte.
No, that was
Yeah.
Sunday. That was,
Yeah, it was
Monday. That was Monday.
So I don't know why they were doing
I
that.
can't
but,
imagine it was tied together.
Oh,
Maybe
they
everyone's
watched that.
just.
They watched that film. Come on, they definitely watched that game. The game film.
I
I
guess
didn't think it was a Cornette related.
true.
Larry-
That's fine.
Larry was a little more subdued after. So I don't know.
And Spoelstra for the second night in a row got a Luke Corn what is it contest or whatever, corn test or whatever. He got another question about it.
Oh, Cornette. Did he really?
And it looked like he didn't appreciate it. It really did, because his answer was like, we got a lot of how do you say it? He said we got a lot of seasoned, experienced guys, and those guys know that there's a better way to contest a shot.
Who said that, Joe?
No, Spoelstra. Spoelstra was asked
Spoelstra.
about it again. He was asked about it pregame last time. So,
We should just make that a running joke. Every time Spoelstra comes back to Boston, we'll just.
That's
kinda
what I mean.
Sneak in
I-
a
I've been-
Cornette contest question.
I was not joking, Bobby. I was like, go ask the other team whether they think about it and see if they don't laugh. You
go
know?
back to the pregame thing. He did like scoffed. He was like, yeah, I know, yeah, because I
Like
think it was
3
Abby.
years from
Someone
now.
else, Abby was trying to like explain it, or someone tried. He's like, no, I know what you're talking about. I'm familiar with this thing.
Yeah, he's like, it's ridiculous. Like I can't believe you guys think it's a thing.
Right.
Like you
Why are
think
you
they don't.
asking
You think the other team doesn't hear Scal screaming, "It's real! The Cornette contest is real!"
Right, and you got to remember that this is a guy who, like, after like 4 or 5, 6 questions, most of the kind of guys be like, "We good? All right, thank you." Like he's not with it, like he's not down
He's
with
so
the whole,
far
like,
beyond that.
everybody get your questions in, because I want to make sure that everyone will know. Like I think he didn't expect the Luke Cornette question to make it into the preview.
I
That's it.
love that these teams are gonna play again, and maybe
Jimmy's
more than one
right.
more time.
Ask every coach about it at pre and post game.
Just keep peppering it.
Just keep hammering it.
See
Have
the
you
level of
noticed this thing that this guy does? He didn't play tonight.
Hey, coach.
He actually
Coach,
hasn't played in 6 or 7 games. But when he does play, he just
Wow,
jumps.
John sounding like a Cornette hater.
I'm not. I'm just messing
It's
around.
a fair question. It's a fair question to ask.
I need the Celtics to play the Spurs soon because I want someone to throw that to Popovich.
Oh my God.
Oh, can you imagine?
That's what I need, Bobby. I mean,
I need Bobby to ask.
I don't know. It's gonna be all news by then. They don't play the Spurs for a while.
Bobby, I will Venmo you. I will Venmo you an undisclosed amount of money to ask Pop about the corner.
All the super chats prior to a Spurs game
that.
will go into Bobby's pocket if he asks Popovich that
You
question.
have to ask him a question.
You guys can
directly,
pay Bobby to ask questions. Yes, we will sell. we will sell access. We'll sell you access.
Enjoy the intimidation from Bobby's voice.
This is the calm question of the day, Joe.
yeah, from our listeners, com.com/garden.
We will sell.
Hey, Coach,
we will sell you
thoughts
access.
on the Cornet contest. He's
I
like,
did ask.
literally have no idea what
I
he's talking about.
I asked Clifford on Sunday, and he was like, "There's really nothing like getting into a guy and just actually contesting the shot."
You know what I'm in favor of? Real defense. That's basically what Clifford said.
I'm on the Cornet. Listen, all these old heads, they're stuck in their defensive ways. They don't want to see the new age of defense where you can alter shot. It's called shot altering, John. It's not called shot blocking.
Jimmy, it's called not playing defense.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Shot altering. You can alter the eyes.
You know what it almost reminds me of? Those
not
lazy
playing
defenders. That, but also the lazy defenders in pickup games that would come at the defenders like this.
Dude,
yeah.
And start heading down the other end of the court. Warner, why aren't you throwing me the ball? I got a layup.
I hate that.
Or in the corner. Or in the corner when the bench is like,
That's what I said. Jimmy and I compared it to the guys behind the basket with balloons. We're not playing defense. We're not playing defense, and neither is Luke. Okay, not when he does that.
3 years from now, Spoelstra comes back, and Luke's not even on the team anymore. But it's like, hey, Spo, how much better is it now that you don't have to deal with the neck and test? He just tosses the mic.
Spoelstra even paused, and he was just like, I mean, he's all, but no, but no.
We watched it. We did watch it in film.
Yeah.
We did.
I gotta see that clip.
Talk about
He's
it.
like, if you're a younger player, maybe it's a bit of a distraction, but again, the way he said it was like, look, we got a team full of seasoned vets in here, all right? So
if we ever have a CLNS pickup, I'll try it out. I'll get right by the rim while Jimmy's shooting the three and be like,
Yeah.
Oh my God. People will pay Bobby to ask that. All right, we're gonna wrap. We got it. What's up on tap? Is it Sunday?
Sunday against Brooklyn.
Sunday in Brooklyn.
Sunday.
Bobby's
an
there.
early tip-off, 6 o'clock.
Bobby's there. Josue's there. I don't know about Sherrod. He likes to do stuff. He's going to.
Wow, the whole team.
The whole game. I'm gonna start. I might go. Maybe
John, should we go?
Yeah.
Should we buy bus tickets?
John, Jimmy, come on. We'll do a New York show.
Come on down.
I got my boys out there.
Jimmy.
As
We
well.
need a couple friends out that way. I could crash.
Let's go.
All right, deal. We want to tell you once again about our sponsors. Make sure you support them. athleticgreens.com/garden. Your one-stop shop for all your health needs. One scoop, 75 vitamins, minerals, cup of water. You're done for the day. Basically $3 a day.
Son.
It's worth it to take care of your health. Go to athleticgreens.com/garden. Free 1-year supply. Vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. And of course, the #1 mental wellness app, Calm. Go to calm.com/garden and you can get a 40% off their premium subscription. It's an amazing deal. It's the material on the site is updated constantly on the app. Music, sleep stories, what have you. It's all great.
Oh, yeah.
And forget the graphic pictures. I'm showing you guys the real deal.
The real deal.
You get this
folks.
phenomenal
John, put it on
t-shirt.
for us.
I
Put it
can't
on
right
for
now.
us.
I got headset and sweatshirt and a hoodie. It'll take forever.
You've got layers.
Here it is.
But you know what? I got to be honest with you guys. It looks a lot better than I thought it did.
I like it. It feels
Bobby,
good.
how's it fit?
Pretty good.
It feels
good.
great. The material's nice.
Oh,
It's good.
How's the sleeve to arm ratio?
It's good. I'm jacked no matter what.
It's
it's good. Sleeves can't hold me. That's what doesn't
Are
really
you gonna
matter.
probably cut the sleeves off?
Are we
Yeah,
really
that's
getting
gotta
into
come.
analytics over a damn t-shirt? Are we really getting
Oh,
analytics over a damn
it's
t-shirt?
We are.
Come on,
But
Jimmy. God.
all you guys have to
look
do.
good in it.
Hold on. Time out. DM me with a receipt. your
Yes.
dimensions.
Don't eat the receipt.
Yeah. And your address, and we will send it to you. We just
I
sent the
know that
first batch today.
reference.
We got so many orders. I'm not kidding. So many orders. We actually ran out of T-shirts, and there's 4 or 5 people at the bottom of the list. The most recent. We got to wait for a new order coming in. So we got them in, and we shipped them all out.
I didn't get one yet.
And we had to ship yours and Josue's and one other out.
I told Nick to buy more. I was like, dude, if you buy more, the price will drop.
Just because you're a good salesman, Jimmy.
Yeah, someone knows about supply and demand.
He's like, oh no, we're only buying.
No,
blah, blah, blah
Jimmy,
amount.
you sold too many. Sold too much athletic greens. Too much.
Yeah, before I
can't
forget,
help it. I can't help it. I'm a natural born salesman.
shout
I
out
don't
to
even
a
have.
fan
You know what?
who was sitting near our section. He said he's a big fan. He wants T-shirt. I say you DM and tell him that I said.
Yeah.
After you get something from our sponsors, and you tell John that you spoke to me about it, and he said that he was gonna do that. So yeah, shout out to him. I wish I caught.
Listen,
I wish I caught.
it's hard to sell the product. It's hard to sell the product when you haven't seen it, felt it, smelt it, worn it.
Well,
lived
I
it.
went.
I gotta know it before I can sell it.
I went as a fan on Friday. I went as a fan on Friday. We ordered in bulk, Luis. I went
not
as a
bulk
fan.
enough.
We ordered a lot. That's how many orders we got. I went as a fan on Friday wearing my Phenomenal t-shirt. And I did want to give a shout out to Drew from Cambridge. He was sitting right behind, gave a shout out, fan of the show. What's up, Drew? I hope he's watching tonight. That was fun going in there, walking around with my Phenomenal t-shirt. I'm like, anybody know who I am? Anybody?
They're like, no.
One guy.
I actually saw
this
you.
dude thinks he's phenomenal.
You know what's such a boss?
People just think that you think you're phenomenal.
Look at this asshole. Yeah.
I saw it.
Look at John Zannis over here. They won't go up to you. Like they'll just.
I saw him, Jimmy. I saw him getting so excited after those back-to-back Tatum threes, waving the shirt around.
Was he waving it? Yeah, I bet he was.
Yeah.
I
was trying to get the t-shirt.
He was out of his seat all
standing on
night. He
his
was having a
chair.
great time.
Oh, I was
good
trying
to
to make
see.
eye contact with Sherrod because I was one section over in the same row, basically.
No, Sherrod saw you.
I was in 20. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know this guy.
He looked the opposite direction.
Yeah, no, fan John is different than talkie John. You know, like I'll enjoy my game. That was fun.
Okay.
But yeah, wearing the Phenomenal t-shirt, so we got to debut it out in public. We will send you one as well, of course, if you guys are so interested. Again,
I would like one, please.
Same.
yes.
I also think we need to start going over additional t-shirt designs.
We got a few.
We have to keep them limited edition. That's how they hold their value. It's like a limited release.
Okay.
Yeah, when
You can't mass produce them.
when that Brockton Wi-Fi goes out, though,
Ooh.
what? Pun intended. What?
If that Brockton Wi-Fi actually goes out, sometimes a little spotty.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
The graphic's
Dude,
gonna be all like it's gonna be like fainted.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
We got to get Cornetta shirt too.
We really
We got
don't.
a lot of ideas coming. We're gonna start pumping these out.
We could
Yeah.
do a
Brockton
funny
Wi-Fi.
Cornet contest T-shirt.
I don't know, it gets
which is-
tricky when you do the players. There's some rights.
The
stuff there,
t-shirt
but-
will just
That's
be
true.
like his legs, and
It'll
because
just be
the
a
rest of him
tall
is jumped
white guy.
too high out
It
of
won't
the,
be
out
him.
of the
It'll just
t-shirt.
be your typical tall
Yeah.
white guy.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So we've got it.
Net and test.
Cornet contest.
Yes, guys. Thank you again for hanging out. We're back on Sunday. Early tip, as Bobby said, it's the 6:00 game.
Yes.
Patriots
Yes.
already played. There's
Thank
probably
God that
no
game's
reason.
already over.
There's no reason to watch them anyway, but you don't have to worry about watching them on
You
Sunday.
can actually enjoy your Sunday. You don't have to
Get
watch the
up tomorrow. Go USA. Go,
Yes.
go, go. Get them.
That's what I was going to say. I was
Be a
going to
tough one.
say tomorrow's perfect for AG1. You're going to have a marathon day tomorrow. You're up at 8 probably. If you're like me, you're up early, you're going to the gym before the soccer game. But then you're going to probably treat your body like crap the rest of the day. You're probably going to be out somewhere eating crappy food, maybe drinking a couple beers, screaming your head off. You've got USA Soccer. Then you've got all the college football conference championships tomorrow. So you've got a lot going on. You want to get your day off on the right foot. So
a
that's
good
where
idea.
That's where AG1 comes in. You can feel a little bit better about yourself.
Go USA. It's gonna
Go
be
USA.
fun.
Let's
10
score a couple
o'clock.
goals. How about that?
Get
Give
after
that a
it.
shot.
Get after it. It's
Trade
gonna be
back.
fun. It's gonna be fun. Let's see if we can get
I'm
this.
gonna-
one.
Is Pulisic playing?
He's playing.
I'm actually going to try to go out for the game tomorrow at 10 a.m. if I can do it. I'm going to try. I think I'm going to hit up a bar.
Oh, is it at 10?
10 a.m.
Didn't I just say 10 a.m. like 100 times?
10 a.m. Eastern time.
I didn't know
Eastern
what time.
Standard
What time zone?
10 a.m. You got to get up. I'm going to a bar at 10 a.m. tomorrow because that's
I
just
am
what
too.
you do.
I'm going
Yep.
to Blackmore in
You going to
Charlestown,
Boylston,
actually.
kid?
I'm
That
going
sounds like
to
a Boylston
Blackmore.
No,
trip.
I'm staying local because I
Oh.
got to get back. I need a short drunk drive home.
Shut up, Blackmore. Jeez, dude, you can't say that.
I'm kidding, Jimmy. It's 10 a.m. I'm not gonna go. I might have one Bloody Mary.
Dude, people
I'm
are gonna be
dying right now.
people are gonna be slugging. You don't think people are gonna be slugging beers tomorrow at 9 a.m.? They will.
Oh yeah,
be.
they are. Yeah,
Oh, they will be, my
Not
friend.
John.
Oh, they will.
Keep
be.
it local, bro. There you go.
I'm staying local. I might have
I'm
one Bloody
walking to the
Mary.
bar. I'm
A
walking
Bloody
to the
Mary
bar.
in the first, maybe a beer in the second half.
Depending
That's
if
about
they
it.
win, maybe another one if they win, just to celebrate.
Then another
you know,
one
as
after
is
that.
tradition.
Right? Yeah.
John will be spinning the phenomenal shirt again.
Yeah. Woo!
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
nice to have.
All right.
tomorrow.
Good night,
Oh,
guys.
then wait.
Jimmy.
Also, I'm going to be
This
at
better be
Hunters
good.
tomorrow.
Trying so hard
3
to end
o'clock.
this.
I'm going to be at Hunters tomorrow at 3 o'clock in Southie playing some music. So if anyone's out
Oh,
in
okay.
Southie, come swing by Hunters. 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. USA
Yeah.
Soccer, SEC Championship game, Hunters. I think that's the order.
I don't know
Vibes
if this
with Jimmy.
person is saying this based on the fact that they know me
Do
or
they
they've
know
heard
you?
me say this. Yeah.
Is it legendary?
It was legendary. I don't know anymore.
We should find out someday.
Even an out of practice me is pretty stout.
Why don't we find out tomorrow? I'll see you
You
at
know?
Blackboard tomorrow for the game.
Even an out of practice me is pretty stout.
One
But
of these
yeah,
days.
we'll see. Jimmy, what does he play? He sings and he plays guitar and he's phenomenal. That's
He
no
gives
joke.
Celtics takes at the
You
end.
should go check out Jimmy.
You should
Where is
check me out.
Blackmore?
You guys should check me out.
Where is
Blackmore's
it?
in Charlestown. Blackmore's in Charlestown, right? Like on the corner of like Charlestown and like right
Is
where
it
the
kid
bridge is.
friendly? Because
It's very kid
that's-
friendly. Oh, I mean, it's a big restaurant. I mean, I have no idea what it's gonna be like tomorrow because it's kind of a unique situation. But
Do you play
Generally-
Raffi songs?
no, I'm not playing at Blackmore.
I'm just kidding. No.
Blackmore's where I'm watching the game, but no, I don't play rappy songs. I'll play
Okay.
Baby Shark. I'll play a good Baby Shark though.
Okay. All right. That might bring him. Wait. So where's the gig?
The gig's at Hunters in South.
Hunters.
You're
Hunters.
gonna do
Hunters.
what you gonna do an acoustic version of Baby Shark? Jesus.
I definitely could, Josue, and I have. I'll have you know, it's pretty damn good too.
All right.
Got
Awesome.
to get something for the kids. All right, that's it.
Good night, all. Thank you for hanging out. We'll talk to you guys later.
Later, guys.